What's that? It's Boss Battles Part 2, or as Horky puts it so eloquently, the second form. When you think you're done with that lady in the burning building in Sekiro. Oh no, that was just the first form. That was for the babies. Anyway, we got music coming up from Grandia, Bravely Default, Final Fantasy XIV. A lot of JRPGs, actually tons of RPGs. We got a Sonic track later on. And almost all RPGs. Interesting. Alright, this one, of course, is from Final Fantasy VII. This is Fight On. Delving into Nobuo Uematsu's rock side, prog rock side, with the shredding on the rock organ. We've got picks from cyflan, Steve, Rudi, xenmas, Claudio, and Longbow, and maybe Horky will bless us with one. This is my pick. Very predictable. We got some Deltarune in the background. I wanted an animated background of Undertale. I couldn't find a good one. This one seemed fine. So there you go. That's what I got for you here. Things that seem fine. Let's move on. Our first selection from Grandia Xtreme on the PS2 in 2002. This is Battle 3, composed by Noriyuki Iwadare, chosen by cyflan. Something. Ninja Turtles. Man, funny. A lot of times, a lot of the, boss themes are like very, very oppressive and sort of like doom and gloom. This is pretty upbeat. This kind of sounds like you were at your, I was going to say jazzercise, but let's update it to Peloton, you might say. You're in your Peloton class, and you end up getting into a bit of an altercation with somebody, and maybe you have to square off with somebody in the locker room. They say, I don't like the way you made that joke about my Peloton form. I run this class, not you. And they fight. But it's maybe not in the locker room. Maybe it's back in the Peloton class, when everyone's cleared out. People still working out around behind you? Yeah. Fun. More shredding organ, just like the Final Fantasy Fight On track. It's like you're fighting, but you're doing it over a game of beach volleyball. Probably not a hard boss. Yeah, exactly. Next up, from Bravely Default and Bravely Second, this is the Baal battle theme, B-A''A'-L, composed by Revo and chosen by Steve. Yeah, a lot of guitars, a lot of different sections. Very, very proggy. Very proggy. I listen to this track, I think it's proggy. It's very proggy. It's the most proggy we've seen. Other countries, they can't do prog rock like this. It's very bad. I hear other music. There's no guitars. It's very sad. It's very sad. Very proggy. There's bells in a kid's choir. It sounds like Christmas. I'm looking at it. It seems very Christmassy. And then spooky Halloween sounds. Woo, woo, woo. Very scary. Very scary it is. It's very scary. But it's good. It's real good. Must be made in America. We make the best music. Let's post about it right now. Copying the link. Entering Discord. I don't know. I was just joking. I was just trying to sound like Trump. I felt like what I was saying sounded like Trump, so I wanted to talk about American music for some, you know. Figured that's what he would be into. All right. Okay. Sorry for lateness. Oh shit. If you're watching the YouTube video version of this and you're seeing some of the in-between stuff and you're thinking, that's sloppy. What's going on? We don't normally see this. Is Matt slipping? Is he cracking up? The answer is yes. This next one from the Live Alive remake. First game out in 1994, remake out in 2022. This is Megalomania. That's right. Like the Undertale theme, Deltarune. Apparently, this was inspired, or the Toby Fox one was inspired by this theme. The original one composed by Yoko Shimomura, and the arranger for the remaster remake, Yoshinori Nakamura, chosen by Rudi. What a great track. I love how full on it is, but it's like The production on it and the tone of it is just, everything is like very full and kind of luscious, you know? I love that bass, yeah. The bass is really fast and punchy, but it's got that nice kind of low synthy sound. All the synths are just these like big space fillers. And so close to being obnoxious sounding, but are not for some reason. You'd think they would be. How high it is, but there's just, they kind of filled in really nicely all around. Pretty full on. It sounds like something you hear in like a bullet hell type game, where just the screen is full of synthy hell. All right, let's check out the original track and see how different it is. What the fuck? Oh, it is exactly the same. It's just got more of that Super Nintendo charm to it. You know, if you loved, if you grew up loving a game, this is that's the kind of remaster I want to hear. A remake. Wow, it's identical. That's amazing. This has got like a bit more punch in the bass, and it's a bit more filled in. Interesting. Did get a bit more 80s. Yeah, it's funny. It sounds older. This is there's a bit more charm in the Super Nintendo one. You can hear a bit more of what's going on with the individual instruments. It's like a 1980s Phil Spector got a hold of it. Hey, hope you like Final Fantasy XIV, because we hear some of it every week. The nice thing about it, the music's usually pretty good, and there's always gameplay videos, which is nice for me. This is from Final Fantasy XIV. It's called the Diablo Armament. Mint? Soken, composed by xenmas, chosen by. You know, I thought that when we were going to do an entire show dedicated to boss music, it would be dark, oppressive, intimidating. But all of it's been fun with a lot of swagger. Really, just... I guess it's with a lot of these bosses, they have a lot of personality. The game is not, it's not the final boss. It's meant to be a challenge, but it's also meant to be a lot of fun. A lot of J-rockery. I love those really like Latin beats when they're like when you don't have that snare beat right away, instead of it boom when it's like awesome. Kind of reminds me of like 30 Seconds to Mars or Newborn by Muse or there's this other one called Unretrofied by Dave Patton from Mr. Bungle, one of those bands he was in. Anyways, fun. Back-to-back Final Fantasy, going all the way back to Final Fantasy I Origins, released in 2002 on the PS1. This is Boss Theme A, composed by Nobuo Uematsu and chosen by Claudio. Man, there's just something so magical about a lot of Uematsu's tracks. They have just like a certain kind of flair to them. They're so evocative, like the use of that just really interesting melodies. A lot of Uematsu stuff is actually kind of weird, but is somehow still like really musical and very, very catchy. And it's the kind of stuff that just does really well over time. You know, you can listen to it over and over and over again. There's so much. It goes to so many different places, but it never feels really obnoxious. I'm going to go see what Olive thinks of this. All right, you maniacs. This is from Lisa, the Painful Wars. It's called War Season, composed by Austin Jorgensen and chosen by Longbow. Yeah. Take me to war. Typewriter. This is amazing. those are amazing. Definitely has that street drum feel of people kind of hitting, well, where the drums are the main instrument. So you're going to have a little more adventurous. Pow, 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 pow. And I'm glad we have Rudi here to let us know that this is a very samba style or a maracatu style down in Brazil. And mesmo, which I've heard means really in Portuguese. Always the best word to learn in any language. Really? 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 Really, 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 really. Pretty amazing. And then you just have that really kind of dry, like brown sounding with a bit of like reverb or delay. Ding, 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 ding. But even like those synth sounds kind of sound like you're hitting sticks. The guy who made this song and also the game itself is completely unfamiliar with music. He just taught himself how to make music through the game. It does kind of have that feel of like somebody who's going, all right, today I'm going to use this drum sound and I'm just going to try to make this as interesting as possible, and then add that other instrument where you go like, anyone who was kind of regularly versed in music would probably have maybe a bit more low end in there, or would have some other complementary instruments, or would have like chords. This definitely sounds like somebody who just got Fruity Loops for the first time. So, pretty incredible. Always blows me away that you get people that could make a game and can also make music like this, or Concerned Ape making all of the gameplay in Stardew Valley, all of the visual art, all the music, or Toby Fox creating a game that is a generational top that has become a cult hit both for its story, mechanics, and the music too. He's a shredding musician. This is really fun. Next up, from our Tonelico 2, released on the PS2 in 2007, this is Indra from the Gust sound team, chosen by cyflan. I like this theme. There's a lot of tension in it. It's a lot of that kind of just like constant quick notes and arpeggios, and it feels like they're just steadily there, and it feels like they're sort of rising and rising and rising and rising and rising. Just sort of, it kind of seems like there's an alert, you know, like an alert for the area. Like you're the intruder that they found, and they've released this like bot that's out to get you. It's out to shut you down, baby. Yeah, really nice. I love the choice of instruments. The piano's nice. All that. I really like that synthy stuff too. So nice. Really nice. Honestly, you know, when I saw the thumbnail, I thought, oh no, it's gonna be just some like shredding J-rock, but it's quite beautiful. We got something from Yoko Shimomura coming up. When I think of boss battles, I often think of the great work she did in Mario and Luigi's Dream Team. This is the final Antasma battle, chosen by Steve. What a fun little turnaround. That's sort of like clav, the Stevie Wonder type clav, just a little bit of shredding out of there. There's so many notes in this. This is another sort of bullet hell one, but it's got Yoko Shimomura's incredible composition and arrangement, and just that one violin soaring above the incredible density of everything. It's sort of like a churning vortex tornado of like even the galloping rhythm notes. It's like just like a swirling craziness, and then a nice strong solitary violin, just not going super fast, not dense, just one note singing above. And I love the switch to the halftime. So cool. Okay, this is from a tutorial boss. Hilarious. Alright, next up from Xenogears, the 20th anniversary concert. Xenogears released in 1998, and I guess this 20th anniversary concert in 2018. 2018. That'd be like a 20,000th anniversary. Still discussing which one's better, this one or Final Fantasy VII. This is Blazing Nights, composed by Yasunori Mitsuda, chosen by Rudi. God, I love the art style of those profile pictures. Those are some of the most beautiful sprites I've ever seen. Total synth suppository. You know what I like about this orchestral version is that they don't cloud it up with a lot more, you know, because it's very easy for people to, when they have an orchestra, and to just add in a million different instruments, because they're used to just writing that way for an orchestra. But with this, it was a simpler time. I mean, the PlayStation 1 did have the ability to really be overloaded with instruments, but I feel like this one, it's like, yes, it's played in a concert with an orchestra, but they're just letting it breathe, like all the space in between, cutting things out so you can hear that vocal line, whatever that is. A lot of bass, guitar. It's a beautiful arrangement. All right, we can't talk about boss battles without talking about No More Heroes. This is from No More Heroes number 2. This is Subata 1, composed by Akira Yamaoka, chosen by xenmas. So fun. That's definitely seems like one that Chris would really like. Doesn't seem to be here today. Our One Lich Emperor. All those like really fast, what do you call those? Like jungle beats or garage beats? Just so much going on when you think about a game like this, with all the action, everything being kind of over the top and really flashy. The drums are such a star here, and it really sounds like it's not just programmed in. It's like somebody who really knows how to drum, getting to play it live and getting to improvise. Like, so amazing, so exciting, and like just the perfect backup for those drums, and lots of room allowed to just sort of chill out and breathe and just lay down some like dark, sinister strings before the drums come in, and just so perfect for like two comic book type characters squaring off with a lot of drama, and then the drums come in and it's just like the millions of like sword hits and bullets flying around. Perfect. Next up, we've got from Romancing Saga 2, released on the SNES in 1993. This is Seven Heroes Battle, composed by Kenji Ito, chosen by Claudio. Oh, Super Nintendo. It's an interesting point, Solace, but the bass being front and center. It's really there, kind of driving, like cutting through, and it's just so much stronger than, I guess, all the other sounds. But I love that really, the galloping drum sounds, and there's just something about those Super Nintendo. I don't know what sound they're trying to emulate with that really high one. I mean, somebody had mentioned a trumpet. Claudio mentioned a trumpet. I guess it could be like a trumpet. Sort of used, not quite in a way a trumpet would be used. Not sounding as... It doesn't sound like a fake trumpet. It just sounds like its own thing. It sounds like the Super Nintendo... like you said, the Super Nintendo sound font, which can be very cozy sounding. All that crazy compression on those samples make them really sound like synths as opposed to real instruments a lot of the time. And I think that it works completely. It sounds nice. All right, after doing our Sonic Fans Revenge track, maybe some of that leaked its way into... And as an influence, this next one is from Sonic Unleashed. This is Boss Battle at Night, composed by Hideaki Kobayashi, chosen by Longbow. Whoa. And builds and builds. This is amazing. It's funny. If you showed me that and you said, is this from Sonic or is it from Donkey Kong or is it from sort of like a newer Mario? I definitely wouldn't have picked Sonic. Usually Sonic stuff is almost always like some kind of a, like a rock beat or a pop beat or a dance beat or something. This is very much like a... What do you call it? What's that one? It's like bump, 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 ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba. It sounds like sort of the 1930s, 1940s hot jazz or 1920s. Sing, sing, sing. That's what it's called. Like Duke Ellington, getting the big band out, the big drums, the big swinging. People are going to be throwing ladies with hoop skirts through their legs and drinking at speakeasies and watching for the coppers coming out before they shut us down. But then it's got these kind of like John Williams Star Wars, like really sad strings. Cool. Not really what I expected at all when I saw the word Sonic. But I guess when you unleash Sonic, some cool things can really, really happen. Next up, from Len N number 4, this is Brilliant Pagoda, or The Haze Castle, released on PC in 2016, composed by Silver and Jinx. No, the track is Silver, I think, and I think it's composed by Jinx, J-Y-N-X, chosen by cyflan. Do 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 do. It's an interesting track. It's got a lot of like, it can be very, very repetitive, but I think that in a game like this, where you're focusing on a screen that's just full of tons and tons and tons of bullets, you need things to be very repetitive, obviously fast-paced to match the action, really instrumentally dense, but I think when you kind of have a lot of those kind of, like that drum beat just never changes and keeps up the intensity and just like there's something for your brain to kind of latch onto and know, so you can almost, it can just like fill your ears with that, but not enough changes for you to be distracted by. I think probably get you in the zone for it, and then that big sort of switch to just straight on like punk beat for that second section. I think it would be really, really effective for these kind of games. Alright, so this next one is from Final Fantasy XIV Stormblood. This is Triumph, composed by Masayoshi Soken and Nobuo Uematsu, chosen by Steve. And pretty interesting. So this is the last time Uematsu worked on one of these ones. Definitely has a bit more of that, like we were talking about, that magical flair that he adds. I mean, even those little really simple 3-note kind of motif that just sets a little emotional groundwork to it, and just works so well with everything else going on in the track. Really long and windy, goes to a lot of different places. Very, very inspiring, very epic. I really like this one. I'm going to add it to my faves. Next up, from Ease 7, released in 2009-2010, this is Crossing Rage, composed by Masanori Osaki, chosen by Rudi. And this one's really fun. It's just a straight up rock song, kind of like get some 80s influence in there. And it's very, very straight ahead, which makes it very, very strong. The riffs and the melodies and stuff, everything is just very clearly heard. Everything is just like really, accounted for. And it doesn't try to get too cute with it. Just like fights, goes fast, powerful, got some like snarl to it. Funny, it kind of sounds like so this is the Falcom team. So was this done on like one of those PC engines or something? Because it's kind of like a mix of like Super Nintendo Genesis sounds. E7, so what would that be on? PSP and PC. Interesting. It sounds much older than it is. Our next track from the much heralded Tales of Vesperia. This is Cutting Off Dark Ambitions, composed by Motoi Sakuraba and chosen by xenmas. Holy shit! So yeah, this sounds pretty insane. I mean, it is pretty full on. There's a lot of things that are constantly doing long chromatic dissensions. A lot of things that are playing against each other, going up and down. There's a lot of like surprises in here. Like, it seems like everything about this is made to sort of fill you with a bit of dread and like disorientate the player, or make it just seem like, I don't know, the boss that you're fighting is coming from all different angles, and there's like so many things to consider. It is totally wild. Wow. Chromatic is one of those terms that's like sounds really more complicated than it is. Chromatic just means that you play every note in a row. You don't skip any. So you just go like, you don't skip any of them at all. I might not have been doing that, but yeah, pretty wild track. And we have another Super Mario RPG franchise track. This is from the very first one, released in 1996 on the SNES. This is Fight Against an Armed Boss, composed by Yoko Shimomura and chosen by Claudio. Man, you know, a nice simple track. We know that Yoko Shimomura can masterfully handle as many layers and orchestral instruments you want to throw into it, but keeps it really simple with a nice kind of bouncy, fun. Gives it this kind of really kind of fun meter. A lot of the instruments and the way they're played match the game, where the game felt like Mario was just sort of, it was almost like a parody of JRPGs. It was just like Mario having fun with it. Like Risky Boots says, Mallow tells Mario he isn't Bruce Lee, you know, so that means that what, Bruce Lee exists in this world, or that Mario watches the same movies and martial arts stuff that we do. So looks like such a fun little game, and just like beautifully fun, just like harmless, playful music to go along with the whole thing. Another banger from Yoko Shimomura. Alright, so this next one is from Omori. It is World's End Valentine, composed by Pedro Silva, chosen by Longbow. Oof. This is like super tense, super dense. This one's a bit more, it's funny because this is one of the ones that feels a bit more like it's trying to be a bit more bossy, like its hopes are not all that great. You know, there's a darkness coming out. But a lot of the instruments they use are very kind of light in tone. Even if they're like hard synths and stuff, they have sort of a light feel to them. You know, that's what I'm hearing. There's still like a lot of fun energy to it, and it just works really well for like whatever this game is, which looks like kind of to me, I don't know, like an alternative to JRPG. Some creepy stuff going on, kind of spooky, and a lot of shredding, of course. Yeah, spooky, exactly, Solace. We're thinking the same thing here. I said that right before your message popped up. Great minds think alike. Our penultimate track, second to last track, is from Octopath Traveler. Speaking of great pixel remasters, this is The Battle at Journey's End, composed by Yasunori Nishiki. This one might be breaking the rules a little bit, because it might be for the final boss, last boss theme, but it's a great track. So, here we go. Chosen by Steve. like that flute too. Anytime you hear that flute, it kind of makes it sound a bit like, I don't know, like tribal or like traditional or something you'd hear in more like a village town theme or something. But what I get a lot out of this track is it's got like a real kind of like ritzy production to it. Almost, there's something kind of swanky, other than the flute. The flute I find really grounds it and gives it that more traditional feel, but I find like a lot of the instruments in this one and the production of it make it sound like something you'd see on like like in Las Vegas, sort of like the Las Vegas stage show of Octopath Traveler. You know what I mean? Got it. Like I really hear the band in this as opposed to the musical instruments sort of like seemingly being invisible and evoking a different world to it. It's interesting. I mean, there's a lot going on here. It's huge. It's beautiful. There's so much. It's just like you can hear the production and the money and the endless layers and just the endless builds and just how long this melody goes on and on for. Pretty incredible. Our last track is going to be from the incredible soundtrack of Eastward, released in 2021. This track is Rust. It's composed by Joel Korlitz, and it was chosen by Rudi. Thanks, everybody, for joining. If you're watching on YouTube, this is the end. God, I really like that low, like really dark kind of dark synth. Pop, 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 pop. So cool. It just sounds like a sort of John Carpenter kind of that really like cool dark wave, dark synth from the 80s. So beautiful. Oh my God. Well, if you're watching on YouTube and you want to be part of it, join our Discord. If there's no Discord invite link, drop a comment and you'll get one hand delivered to you. Thank you.